Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. There, I have started a few moments early. Just wait for a few people to come on in. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Good to see you. I'm just going to give it to about 1 minute past before I get started, just to allow a few more people to sort of come on in and join. Good afternoon. Good to see you there. Right, oh yeah, people are coming in a bit thicker and faster now. Amazing. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming to this webinar on Lightkey Medical. Oh, thank you for joining us. Loving it so far. If anyone has any questions or comments or thoughts, please do pop it in the chat or the Q&A. There will be some time to answer any questions at the end, or if I get a chance while we're going through, I will answer questions on the go. Today, we're going to be talking about one of Lightkey's newest innovations, Lightkey Medical. Some of you might be familiar with Lightkey already, might be a long-time user. Both Lightkey and Lightkey Medical are approved on the Disabled Students Allowance and Access to Work scheme, so they've been well established for a long time. I was part of the development team of Lightkey Medical, which is something I'm particularly proud of. I think it was my baby, and we came out around sort of June time of last year. Um, we got so many recommendations of Lightkey, the traditional Lightkey, you're probably well aware of, within the NHS or medical environments. So this was a natural progression to make a much more specialized, much more medical healthcare specific version to help those users who have been using Lightkey or want to use Lightkey would benefit from it within those medical environments, healthcare environments. So as I said, any questions, any comments, please do let me know. This is being recorded, so I'll send you the recording afterwards. And if you need any attendance certificates, just let me know. Awesome. Well, first off, what is Lightkey Medical? Well, for those that might not be so familiar, Lightkey is a multi-word text prediction software, meaning it can predict single words or entire sentences within handling specialist healthcare specific language. Simultaneously, it offers spelling and grammar corrections and healthcare specific spelling. We all know just how complicated medical terminology can be. It has 27 very advanced lexicons, dictionaries, whatever you want to call them, of medical terminology, including individual words for like spelling corrections, but also sentence structure. And this is where this unique form of artificial intelligence comes in. So you've probably heard about AI. This is very different to anything you will have been familiar with. It's not pulling from an external source like ChatGPT. We've trained it on these very advanced lexicons of medical terminology, medical structure sentences, so that it understands medical specific context, medical specific writing style, medical specific spelling in context. So it's a very, very intelligent system, as you will soon see in practice. Why should we use Lightkey Medical? Well, it's a powerful alternative to speech to text solutions, particularly within medical environments where maybe you can't be speaking out loud about private patient confidentiality. Some of the terminology used within medical environments, healthcare language, is extremely complicated and difficult to pronounce, particularly if you have a speech impediment, a stammer, or can't even use speech to text. I mean, try and pronounce this word, for instance, you would really, really struggle. Lightkey is very unique in the sense that it's not an auto-correction software. Uh, you are fully in control of the spelling of the word predictions. So you have that full control, accountability, which is particularly important when you're taking into account medical professionals. They don't want it automatically correcting to an incorrect prescription. You have that full control, you have that full accountability. It's your work. We're just enabling you to be the best writer you can possibly be. It already works within NHS systems and electronic patient records. It's designed to work everywhere naturally. We have tested it and it works thoroughly. It is already used within the NHS, but I'll get onto that in a little bit. It has accessibility features for dyslexia, specifically visual impairment, including color highlights, read aloud, which doesn't work for all the medical terminology, but general grammatical and spelling mistakes, it will read those aloud, and physical disabilities. So we can save as many keystrokes for those with a physical disability or chronic pain. Lightkey is also offline, does not need an internet connection to work. So again, you can use it in any environment offline. It's private and confidential. We do not collect any user data or any user content. It's yours. We don't want it. It's only your data, your content. It's only ever stored locally on your device. It's already used within the NHS. And if you do work within that environment, there's some pretty strict data privacy and security when getting a new software approved. So the fact that it's already being used, it's already gone through that. I personally have been on the phone going through the data privacy and security with people getting Lightkey. So it works very well within their systems. I don't know if we have any DSA assessors here today. Um, but it's already used within the medical environment. So if you're thinking of setting that student up for life, they will eventually leave higher education and they need a software that they're perhaps familiar with, it's their normal way of working, that they can take through to their professional career as well. Because again, it's used extensively. It's just a bit of a case study of someone that's using it. I always like to show this one because they've saved 48 hours a year, which is more than me. If you've ever seen any of my Lightkey, you've seen I've saved about 32 hours, which is over my course with my Lightkey this year. So they've said I use Lightkey daily, and it saves me on average 18 hours per month. A substantial amount of writing, a substantial amount of time. Many medications and medical conditions have difficult or complicated spellings. I used to spend a lot of time stopping, typing to Google check certain medications and conditions. Now at Lightkey, I only need to start typing the assumed spelling in context, and almost 100% of the time, Lightkey will offer the correct wording or spelling. This is a huge time saver in medical typing. All who type in a medical environment know how complicated, somewhat unexpected spellings can be. So an interesting thing to note is it says 100% of the time here. Now, we actually aim for about 60 to 70% prediction. We could get a lot more, but again, we don't want to be doing the work for you. It's your work, it's your fully in control. You have that accountability of your own writing. So we aim for about 60 to 70% prediction rate so that you have, again, that full ability to do that writing yourself professionally. So let's have a little look Lightkey Medical in practice. But as I mentioned, Lightkey Medical does work everywhere. Today, I'm just going to focus directly within a Word document. I'm going to flip the script a little bit, and I'm going to actually start by showing you the dashboard before I start showing you some examples. You can find your Lightkey dashboard here, Lightkey Medical. You always come down to the system tray, open up with that little L. Some of you, again, might be familiar with Lightkey, you might be using it for a very long time. So you'll notice the main difference here is this My Medical Topics. I'll dip into that in a moment. Lightkey does have various accessibility settings, which I'll just quickly show. If I click Accessibility Settings tab, as you can see, optimize prediction experience for people with dexterity or physical typing difficulties. The idea behind this function, this feature, is to reduce how many keystrokes are required before you get given a prediction. So it can lead to maybe less accurate predictions, but it does provide earlier predictions. Optimize prediction experience for dyslexia or other learning difficulties. This ultimately empowers the device for dyslexia. Lightkey, the traditional one, if you've ever heard me talk about that, the question I get asked is, can Lightkey learn mistakes? And for the traditional Lightkey, the short answer is yes. This increases the threshold. But the interesting thing about Lightkey Medical is we've actually flipped the script. So Lightkey Medical, rather than learning exclusively from the user, their writing, their vocabulary, their terminology, it's trained to prefer the 27 lexicon of medical terminology vocabulary. So it's only going to give you best practice medical terminology. Below this, we have different color themes. So there is a default theme, which works quite discreetly in the background. There's a high contrast theme, and this was developed for users with low vision. It's also beneficial for dyslexia, helping you focus on your writing. And orange, blue, and green, and this is developed for users with color blindness. So we worked with the Thomas Pocklington Trust to develop this. Lightkey is screen reader enabled, so JAWS, Windows Narrator, and Aventido, to name a few. As you can see, I did have saved 32 hours myself, a substantial amount of time. Let's get into the actual medical predictions. So now if we hit My Medical Topics, now if you actually first download your Lightkey Medical, it will prompt you with this question so you can select whatever field you like. Now, you don't necessarily need to select any of them because Lightkey Medical will have an overarching knowledge of all medical fields. But you can click on these and it just becomes more accurate within your specific area. If you don't select any and you hit save, it's going to give you a little notification just to say, are you sure you want to go ahead without selecting any? On the contrary, if you maybe select loads, maybe more than 7, oh, one more. Hit save. It's going to say you maybe selected too many and it kind of defeats the point of your specialism. I'm just going to turn all of these off. Hit save. There we are. So, Lightkey doesn't have any specialist fields, any specialist category activated at the moment. It's just basic day one Lightkey. It's got an overarching knowledge of all medical topics. So if I just come to my Lightkey medical Word document and then simply start writing. I am looking at a sheet over here. Tell me what to write. So if I'm looking off, that's exactly what I'm doing. You see, it's going to start giving me some predictions. Again, this is without activating any of the categories. Mesothelial, there we are. As you can see, it's able to predict that medical terminology, saving that spelling. I don't need to worry about the spelling because it does the spelling corrections for us. Macrophages, lymphocytes, and red blood cells. So as you can see, it'll be able to give me those sort of multi-word predictions as well. The features are in keeping with reactive mesothelial hyper. As you can see, it's come up with hypertension. That's not actually the spelling we wanted, the word we wanted. So you can actually toggle through predictions as well. So Lightkey Medical provides a single prediction or a single correction at a time. The idea behind this is to save that cognitive effort when writing, help you keep moving forward. If I hit Control Shift up and down arrow, we actually wanted hyperplasia. Now we hit Tab, and again, we accept that prediction. No malignant cells are identified. As you can see, again, that's without activating any of our specialist category. It can give us those very specific medical terminology, predictions, and corrections. Let's do another little example here. Diagnosis clearly lies between a juvenile, and as I said, just hitting tab as these are showing up, saving me a lot of time when writing. Fibroma and there we are. Well described. These tend to be separate. You can see it does the spellings as well while I'm writing. Within one mass in this lesion, there is much more scattered HET, Control Shift, up and down, And that's the one we're looking for. Then again, tab to accept that. And it is using that context of that sentence while I'm writing. It's constantly analyzing what potentially we could be meaning in that certain instance. From one area to the next. There we are. So as you can see, again, without activating any specialist category, I'll show you some more advanced in just a moment. Let's just throw down a few medical specific word, perhaps some complicated word that would be very difficult for someone with dyslexia to spell. Paro. There we are. Again, just gives me that prediction. And to be clear, I haven't trained it to do this. It's just automatically giving these predictions. Uh, Y, C. Oh, don't even need that. There we are. Yeah, prediction. Again, I have to just accept that with the tab, right arrow or enter key if I'm happy with it. So, as you can see, without even going into a specialist category, activating that specialist field, it's able to give me these highly intelligent, highly accurate medical predictions and medical spelling corrections. A very, very intelligent system. So now let's actually specialize a little bit. And the first thing I actually want to do is reset my Lightkey factory settings. So it won't have any of my previous writing, it won't have any categories that I've activated. It'll be as if it was day one, just so you can see how quickly it activates once we activate our relevant topic. So hit preferences, hit general, reset to factory settings, full factory reset on this occasion. And it will just take a moment while I have a swig of coffee. Again, if you have any questions in the meantime, please do pop something in the chat Q&A at any point. Okay, just quickly load that back up. So as you can see, this is exactly what your Lightkey is going to be like from day one. I am just going to turn on my high contrast so it's a bit easier for you to see. And then we can come to my medical topics. I'm going to activate maybe start with one and then we'll activate a few more and show you a few different examples. I'm going to activate surgery, hit save. It's just going to update down here in the corner. So if you're working within a specific field or studying a specific field, it's going to become much more intelligent if you activate the relevant categories for you. Okay, so now we can just start writing. You can see, giving me that medical surgery specific prediction very early on. Surgery is an alternative to open heart surgery. As you can see just how much quicker it is now that we've activated our relevant field, our relevant topic for medical use. We can write down a few, again, some medical specific terminology. Blepharospasm. Again, imagine having to pronounce any of these using speech to text. Deep vein thrombosis. I have dyslexia myself. I cannot imagine for the life of me trying to spell any of these without Lightkey. Arch H O D E. Let's see if they're picking that. A T A R T H R O D E. There we are. It's just my writing there. I missed maybe a key. As you can see, very quickly, very accurately able to provide those spelling corrections and predictions. I again open up my dashboard, hit my medical topics. I'll turn off surgery and we're going to activate oncology, which is the cancer, and ENT, ears, nose, and throat. And lastly, cardiology, which is the heart. Okay, so I'm going to actually make a new line here. And then we're just again going to start writing some examples once it's updated down here in the corner. And then again, we just start writing. Combination of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So I mentioned earlier, it's trained to understand context. It's been trained on some very advanced lexicons. lack of a better word, of medical terminology and dictionaries. So it's been able to analyze that sentence while we're writing and give a very clever, intelligent prediction. ENT, doctors are also known as OTOR. I'd like to see anyone using speech to text pronounce that particular word. And usually when I do this, some people do try and actually pronounce it, particularly in live webinars and presentations, which is always very entertaining to do. Again, we hit tab. Can't imagine writing that, spelling that, or pronouncing that. And again, this is from day one. You saw me reset it to factory settings, so very quickly able to give me these very intelligent spellings. I'll just throw down a few words here. Cardi, carditis, medical specific terminology. Supraventricular tachycardia, transient ischemia reperfusion. So, very quickly, very accurately, knows the medical terminology, does the spelling corrections, does your grammar as well, and it does these word predictions, allowing you to focus on your content and your context. That's just a few examples. I'll just come back to my dashboard here. You can see we're already saving some time by writing. We've saved about 2 minutes, 18 seconds here. You can see up here I've used it within Word, but it'll show you other locations as well, how much keystrokes it's saved you and how it's helped you over time. You do have your productivity metrics here. When you're assigning someone a piece of assistive technology, you want to make sure they're actually benefiting from it, they're engaging with it, it's useful, and we want that as well. So you've got your analytics. You can come in here and make sure it's actually something worthwhile for you. You can come to prediction profile. It works across 80 plus different languages. So not the medical terminology, but if you're using this to communicate with a Spanish patient, for instance, and you speak Spanish, you can write to them in that language. Normally, just doesn't have that medical terminology. It's sort of that normal way of working. You have categories in here as well. So of course we have your medical topics, but we have different topics as well. So technology, industry, business, finance, law, government. So maybe you're doing medical law, medicine law at some respect. Maybe you're within the military, also practicing medicine. There are all sorts of careers within there. You can use Lightkey Medical. There's academic dictionaries here, so chemistry, biology, engineering, all which can encompass some sort of medical elements as well. So you can really personalize this to your experience. You can also create your own custom categories, so really personalize it. If you're a professor of medicine or you are the expert of medicine, maybe you're writing academic journals. You can upload maybe previous drafts of that into your Lightkey, and it will be able to predict your specific writing style, your vocabulary, and make it a much, much more personalized experience. But that, my friends, is Lightkey Medical, an incredibly simple solution to help those with a very complex problem of medical healthcare specific writing, whether it's the spelling of healthcare terminology, whether it's text predictions, fabulous alternative to speech to text, can be used within NHS environments where other spelling solutions do not pass the data privacy or security. Awesome. Well, does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to show any specific examples if anyone has any, but yes, please do fire away. While you do that, I'll just point out you can also deactivate the predictions and just have this as a spelling solution or vice versa. So if you prefer a solution like Medincom, for instance, you can turn off the spelling and just have it as that prediction interface. Awesome. Any questions? Fantastic. Well, I really did enjoy being part of the development of this, so I hope you really do love it as much as I do. Um, Amazing piece of technology for a lot of students. Yes, absolutely, Linda. I'm happy to provide you either Lightkey Medical or the traditional Lightkey. The traditional light key will be able to give you just sort of every your day-to-day predictions, that kind of thing. This is obviously more specialized. So I'll send you a quick email afterwards to arrange demonstration licenses. Uh, yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy just to quickly demonstrate how to reset it back to factory settings. If I come along to this side, you come down to preferences, along the top to general. You can back up your light key data here as well. So an issue sometimes happens is a computer breaks, or a student gets a new computer, or a user moves offices or desks. They lose their light key. So we do recommend to come in here, back up your light key data, because you don't want to lose all that progress you've gained. And then you can hit reset factory settings, full factory, or prediction profile reset. This will remove any of the predictions you've done, but it will keep your analytics. Hope that helps. Uh, Fantastic. And Norma's asked we should for a demo. I think I've actually sent you a traditional light key, but I will shoot you an email afterwards as well. And I will send you the recording as well. Yes, absolutely. More than happy to do that. Lots of questions, which I absolutely love. I'm glad to see you're all so engaged with Lightkey Medical. Thank you very much, everybody. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I'll send you this recording very shortly, and we will talk soon, I'm sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And you enjoy the rest of your day. I will just end that here.